My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. So you've already seen our breakdown for Trevin Giles versus Dricus. I'm saying Du Plessis. It's like Du Plessis, but we know how I pronounce names. You've already seen that breakdown, but this is another fight where people were all over each other. Can't decide who's going to win. Danny Boy is back. Dan is a professional fighter if you haven't watched us before. So we're redoing it so that Dan's here and he can give us his insight as well. So we have Trevin Giles versus Dricus Du Plessis. Trevin Giles is 14-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight win streak, which we will talk about in a second. And then we have Dricus Du Plessis, 4-1 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight win streak as well. Trevin Giles, former Jacob Lock of the Week, is coming off of that win over Roman Dolidze. I didn't think that was a win. I thought he lost a decision. I don't think he won that fight. Okay, fine. You want to give him that? Go back a fight before that. He won by KO, TKO, legitimate. The fight before that, where he beat James Krause, that was nonsense. He didn't beat James Krause. Rewatch that fight. There's all sorts of Twitter controversy as well as to one of the judges, but I don't think he won that fight either. So Trevin Giles, if you give him a different judge, all of a sudden he has 2 more losses on his record, and he's 1-4 in his last 5. So I'm not too high on Trevin Giles here. But with that being said, he's very athletic. He's very fast. He's got pretty good hands, and he is a grappler. So he will use his wrestling. He'll come forward, and he's got decent hands. He does, his fight IQ isn't solid, and in some of the aggressive, let me just move forward and wrestle, he will lose scrambles. He'll get caught into some weird stuff in the scrambles. And then Dricus Du Plessis, 100% finish rate. He kill or be killed. No in between whatsoever. Has very good kicks. He's incredibly explosive. And when he's on the ground, he's super aggressive. He's always looking for submission there. And obviously, 17 fights total. None of them have ever seen the judge's scorecard. He's always looking for a finish. So he's an incredible striker. In this fight, if he keeps it on his feet, 100% wins. If Trevin Giles takes Dricus down, he could sit on top and make things happen. But I think Dricus, I think this is as clear-cut as a win as you're going to get. I'm very high on Dricus in this fight. I just think Trevin Giles has had the benefit of some.
This is just sour grapes. Just sour grapes.
Lucky judging. It is sour grapes because I was all over Roman Dolidze. With that being said, I think Trevin is the beneficiary of some lucky judging. I don't see that happening here. I think Dricus is a different kind of animal with a different kind of power. And with that being said, no matter what, I pick that this fight does not go to a decision. That's a bet that I put on this, and I'm very confident in that bet. Dricus has never seen the judges. Trevin's 2 losses are by submission. So that's a bet I have, and I'm very confident in Dricus in this fight. Danny, we have not heard your breakdown yet. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, listen, I think this is another tough matchup to call because, like you said, Trevin Giles is the much more athletic, I would say better striker. He's got a fast jab. He moves well, but he does keep his hands low, and he does some low
Terrible
fight IQ. Yeah, low fight IQ things. It's a buddy I was talking to online. He's like, it's like he finds ways to lose almost. But what I will say, I was watching tape on Du Plessis. Man, he's got power, but like prior to that, he doesn't look like a high-level striker. Now, sometimes looks can be deceiving, and it doesn't really matter. If you figure out a way to get it done, it doesn't matter what you look like until you get there. But, I mean, he was getting pieced up his last fight in the UFC by Marcus Perez. And he landed that weird left hook that just, I don't know, behind the ear or whatever. But he was just getting out techniqued, out out-athleted by Marcus Perez. So I think Trevin Giles is probably going to do the same to him. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Du Plessis landed a big shot. So this is another one of those. I'm not touching anything here because I could see Trevin Giles just outclassing him for 3 rounds, but I could also see Trevin Giles making a mistake and getting clipped and put away. So my pick, I'm going to go with Trevin Giles. He's down to minus money now. At one point, he was plus money. But yeah, I'm not betting it. I'm definitely not going to touch it in DraftKings. But I think Trevin Giles is going to figure out a way to win this fight. I think he's just a better athlete, more skills, and unless he gets caught with a bomb, he should win.
His athleticism is a concern because I'm on the Du Plessis side as far as the pick is concerned. The bet I placed, I'm looking at it now, was under 2.5 rounds. I do think there's a stoppage here.
What'd you get for odds on that? Or
let me pull it up on my phone for the odds. It was like it wasn't bad. It was almost even money. Jacob, why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts here?
That's not bad.
Yeah, Trevin Giles, former lock of the week. You did not go with him as the lock of the week this week, but what are your thoughts here?
No, he was lock of the week for a reason. He dominated that fight from start to finish. It was a bloodbath. It'll go down as one of the worst lopsided victories I've ever seen in my lifetime for sure. So I just carrying the momentum into this fight. Listen, I picked him last fight because I love the way he stays calm in exchanges on the ground. You saw, I think, Roman Dolidze in the first round of the last fight, he had his back, if I remember right. Didn't panic out of the situation, got out of the round and continued and dominated after that. And I think he's gonna have to fight kind of that same perfect fight again against Dolidze because he's the same type of fighter, somebody with big power that can also do some things on the ground. So I like Trevin Giles in this matchup, but he's got to fight that exact same fight he fought against Roman Dolidze for sure, and hope he gets another judge's decision.
Yeah, it's definitely a super close fight. I mean, I know I was incredibly confident, and I still am, but there are some sour grapes in there because I do not think he beat Roman Dolidze. And if you go back to the James Krause fight, he didn't win that either. So I'm thinking or hoping that his low fight IQ and Dricus's just power and sort of just charge forward style, willing to die, exciting style. I hope he gets it done. But like you said, Trevin's incredibly athletic, and like Jacob said, it's funny, he stays calm, but it's almost like that's part of the low fight IQ. It's just like he doesn't care. It's like,
it does come across as like there's no like you'd like to see a sense of urgency is what you'd like to see out of him.
Yeah,
and he is just
I'm
kind
with
of
you
like
there.
It's like he's just kind of going through the motions type of thing.
Yeah, it's not like composed. It's like he's a step behind and just doesn't know how to react. But it will be a fun fight. So it's 2 against 1. I'm in the Du Plessis camp. Those two are in the Giles camp. Again, my bet is not on a specific fighter. My bet is just that this isn't going to go to the distance. And I got better odds at under 2.5 rounds than I did at fight does not go to a decision. Very quickly, are you guys touching this for DraftKings? It's basically even across the board on everything. You going to touch this for DraftKings? Yeah, I don't think so either. And the strike line and monkey knife fight. I think more is probably the play here on both sides. What do you guys think? Danny?
You think it's going to be inside the distance, but you're playing more and more?
Yeah, because I think Dricus is going to make it a firefight, and Trevin, does have some volume.
No, I think it's more and more, but I think it's going to be a decision win for Trevin. So
I agree with you. I don't know if it's going to be more or less. It's going to be close, but I think Trevin Giles is going to try to keep it at a distance, try to make it a smooth boxing match, jab, stay at a range. I don't see him pushing the pace, so it's going to be on Du Plessis to really make it a fight.
And that's what he does. I mean, that's how he fights.
Yeah, but you know that saying, Angelo, sometimes it takes 2 to tango. So he got it out of Marcus Perez, and Marcus Perez was piecing him up until he got clipped. I don't think Trevin Giles is going to really overcommit to anything. So, I seen it being a close decision. I wonder if you could – actually, sometimes they have props like split decision, and you get like crazy odds at the fight.
Yeah, those are good. I haven't done one of those because, as you guys know, I'm the more conservative better here. But you do get crazy odds on guessing a split or a majority decision, stuff like that.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't offer it, or sometimes it comes in really late. But yeah, check for those because there's a couple fights where I didn't do it, and I was like, this feels like split decision written all over it. And then sure enough, it's a split decision, and it was like some ridiculous amount of odds. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel like this fight could go, unless Du Plessis lands a big shot.
Well, either way, if you guys like the monkey knife fight line or want to hit the over or the under there, go to weonpicks.com/MKF. If you want to place a bet, weonpicks.com/bets and grab one of those fancy prop bets. I mean, if you think it's going to go to a decision, the only prop bet that makes sense to me is the +3.5. If you think it's a very close fight and it goes to a decision, then you could grab either one of those guys at +3.5 and you'll be good.
I like the +3.5 when you get like a +250 dog and you can still get plus odds on it. This is going to be like, I don't know, -1. Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't even know if they're offering it yet, but it's not going to be great odds.
No, and that's a good point. So either way, hit those up. If you have any questions, let us know. And we're curious about your picks. I mean, I know you guys are pretty split on this in the comments.